Now the moment you've been waiting for, actually one of the last in a series of exciting moments, because it's time for the Eastern semifinal of the Discovery Quiz. Our three teams today are from St. John's, Newfoundland, Sudbury, and Toronto. And I should tell you, before I introduce the players, that the St. John's Memorial University team was, after the regular season, the team with the highest average score, 4.7 points per quiz. Sudbury and Toronto ranked 3rd and 5th respectively with 3.6 and 3.4 points each time out. So, can they knock off the favorite first place team? We'll soon see. Joining us from St. John's, Henry Williams, John Bridson, John De Bruin, and Willie Davidson. Hi. From Sudbury, the Laurentian University Science North team, Lloyd Reed, Dave Goforth, Andrew Yee, and Tony Ingram. No relation. And from Toronto, in fact, from Harthouse on the campus of the University of Toronto, Cynthia Go, Harry Ruda, hello. Frank DeCosmo, hello. And Stephen Morris. Are you all set, everybody?
Yes.
This is, what could we say, the moment of truth, or if we were using a scientific example, the crucial experiment. Here's the first question, and I will give you multiple choice answers as usual for this. If the 4.6 billion year history of the Earth was compacted into a calendar year, when did life first appear? And here are the choices. Early February, early March, late May, mid-June.
St. John's.
St. John's?
Early February.
Early February is not correct, St. John's. Toronto.
March.
Early March is right. And we're putting that at 3.8 billion years ago. At least those are, at the moment, the earliest bacterial fossils. Now, we have a bonus question, a 1-point bonus. When, and I guess I may give this to the closest answer unless you're way out, when did the first hominids appear on that calendar year?
St. John's.
St. John's.
Late December.
Can you be more precise?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. I'll take that as a St. John's effort. Anybody else?
Toronto.
December
15th.
December 15th for Toronto. And Sudbury, any guesses?
December 31st.
December 31st is absolutely correct. In fact, on this calendar, about the time you'd be going to your bank machine for New Year's Eve, 4 p.m. or so on December 31st, so a point to Sudbury. Question 2, a real-life question. A cement truck has broken down in the middle of nowhere, and the wet cement is in danger of turning into concrete. What secret ingredient is commonly used to slow down the hardening of the cement when this happens? Here are the choices. Mineral oil, sugar, antifreeze, or aspirin.
St. John's.
St. John's.
Antifreeze. Antifreeze.
Very nicely done in concert there, St. John's, but antifreeze is not the correct answer. We'll give you a quarter of a point for being synchronous. Toronto. Sugar is right. I will actually throw you a bonus point. I didn't mean to make that sound like it was like throwing a dog a bone. I'll throw you a bonus point if you can give me a good rationale, Toronto, why it should be sugar.
Because it lowers the solubility of the calcia in the water.
Well, you know, it does prevent the crystallization process. I think I'm going to leave that. It was a good effort, but you did get the point anyway. Now, question 3. Walt Disney immortalized a cricket named Jiminy, but who was or what was Dolbear's cricket, D-O-L-B-E-A-R apostrophe S? And here are the choices. Dolbear's cricket. It was a classic grudge match at Lord's between England and Pakistan in 1968. It was the first insect to survive Earth orbit. It's the only species of cricket to hatch underwater, or it is a living thermometer.
The last one, Toronto?
Toronto. It is the last one. It is a living thermometer. Again, I'll throw you another bonus.
For a bonus, I'll tell you why it's called that.
Okay, please do.
Because the rate of its chirping depends directly on the temperature, and you can just measure the rate of chirping, and it tells you the temperature that the animal is at or the bug is at.
Do you know who Dolbear was, by any chance?
He was a botanist or a biologist. No, I don't.
Well, he was a physicist, but that's okay. Dolbear is the man who originally suggested that you could, and he gave a formula for degrees in Fahrenheit, you could calculate the ambient temperature from the number of cricket chirps per minute. He oversimplified it a bit because he thought they were all the same, and they're not, but a point, 2 points to Toronto for that, the question and the bonus. Okay, we've come to our best answer part of the quiz. This is where we turn off the microphones to the other teams, and each team I will ask in turn to give me a concise but accurate description or explanation for a phenomenon. And here is the question. A Chinook is a blessedly warm wind that prairie dwellers enjoy during the cold winter months. How exactly is it formed? And I will ask Sudbury first for their explanation of the Chinook.
Anybody else want to get it?
Go for it. Okay.
I'm guessing a bit, Jay. I'm thinking that after air passes over the Rockies that there's a lot of drying that's gone on, and as a result there's a tremendous change in the temperature too that happens as that air hits Calgary on a winter's day. A bit of guessing there.
Well, you don't have to, don't be shy. It was a good explanation. You don't have to worry about admitting that you're guessing. Toronto, I'll come to you now. Well, how does the Chinook form?
Okay, it's a sudden warm breeze that comes down the eastern slope of the Rockies, and it's driven by, we don't know.
It's instability at play because the sudden drop as the air falls down and the hot air rises, if you like, causes this instability, which causes the turbulence, which then drives it across the plane.
Okay, and St. John's, as far removed as you are from Chinooks, how do they form?
It's a wind that comes consistently from the west, and it drops its rain on the western slopes on BC. And then as it descends the Rockies on the east, it compresses and warms up, and you get warm, dry weather.
Okay, those are the answers. The general description is warm, moist air coming from the Pacific going upslope, loses its moisture, and as a result warms up, and that warm air dumps down on the eastern slope of the Rockies. Sudbury, you'll get a point, although you didn't get all of that, but got most of it. St. John's, I'll give you a point. Toronto, I'm not quite sure that your description merited a full point, so I am not giving you a point for that. Okay, before we go to the skill tester, which is a tough one this week, I have a very quick question. This has to do with an acronym, and I'd like the full worded version of this acronym, and it is ASCII. A-S-C-I-I. Sudbury.
American Standard Code for Information Interchange.
Absolutely right. A point to Sudbury. We're moving on now. This is the skill tester. Again, your microphones will be shut off to the other teams. This is the Roman skill tester, which we also call the unkindest cut of all.
That too, Brute.
That too, Brute, indeed. And there are 6 steps in this, so be ready. Begin with the number of Roman soldiers commanded by a centurion. Subtract from that number the year that Mount Vesuvius inundated Pompeii.
79 BC. Yeah.
Subtraction.
Again, subtract the number of hills that Rome, the city, was built on.
7. Minus 7.
Multiply now by the number of legendary city founders of Rome nursed by a wolf.
2. The 2 brothers. Okay. Twins, in fact.
Yes.
Now it's getting trickier. You multiply again by the number of the labors of Hercules.
7.
10.
10
labors of Hercules. 7.
And finally, add the number in whatever numerals you choose that is represented by the Roman numeral number M, that's M as in Maximus, MMI. MMI.
2001. I think it's a 12 labors of Hercules, not 10.
I'll run quickly over it again. Number of Roman soldiers commanded by a centurion, minus the year Mount Vesuvius flooded Pompeii with lava, minus the number of hills of Rome, multiply by the number of Rome city founders nursed by a wolf, multiply by the number of labors of Hercules,
12.
and add MMI. And here are the choices for answers.
Want to shout it out?
2,198,
Want to shout Sudbury?
2,299, 2,337.
Sudbury, that's the one.
Sudbury,
2337.
you're right, Sudbury. It is 2337. Now, we have Sudbury, since you last played, instituted what we call the St. John's rule, which is that you have to explain how you got there, and if you have more wrong parts than right, you may lose the point. But why don't you give them to me? Number of Roman soldiers,
100.
minus the year of Mount Vesuvius.
79.
79. Now, we kept a parallel track there in case you meant minus 79 by that, but we'll take 79.
79. Well, in fact, it was AD, so there shouldn't be a problem there.
Okay.
And we'll gloss over that small error. Minus the number of hills of Rome.
That's 7.
Times the number of founders.
2. Romulus and Remus, 2.
Right. Number of labors of Hercules.
12.
Very good. And MMI is?
2001.
Fantastic. Yeah, very good, Sudbury. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Question, that's okay. I give out congratulations easily. Question 7. How many gas giants are there in the solar system?
Sudbury. 4.
Sudbury. How many?
4.
St. John's.
Yes, no, Sudbury's correct. There are 4, but St. John's and University of Toronto, you can vie for this bonus point. How many of the gas giants, of which we've just determined there are 4, have complete rings?
Sudbury. 4.
Sudbury.
St. John's.
4.
Sudbury again was correct with 4. Okay. I'm so wrapped up in this, I have no idea how much more time we have, but we have more questions, so let's just go ahead. This is a multiple choice question. Which of the following areas of the brain is not essential for language? And here are the multiple choices. Remember, you're looking for the area that isn't essential for language. Broca's area, Wernicke's area, the hippocampus, the left frontal lobe.
St. John's.
St. John's.
The left frontal lobe.
Not correct. And
Toronto?
Toronto.
Hippocampus?
Pardon me?
The hippocampus?
The hippocampus is right, Toronto. Excellent. None of the above was the last choice, but obviously none of you were going to bite on that. I think before we head into our last 2 questions, it would be timely to reveal the current standings of this incredibly exciting semifinal match. So here they are. St. John's has 1. I gasp.
One what?
Toronto 5. Sudbury, I gasp again, has 6. So St. John's at the moment, I guess one could say, could play the spoilers role at best, but it's almost neck and neck. Toronto, Sudbury, 2 Ontario teams, not that that means anything. And we're heading into question 9.
Being simultaneous, Jay.
Question 9 is
How
a
about
tough
6
one.
points for the last question?
And you know what? I will. But I will take that suggestion. I will give 3 points because there are 3 parts for the following question, and a point for each right answer. They won't be dependent on each other. Any 10-year-old could tell you that dinosaurs roamed the Earth during the Jurassic period about 200 million years ago. But what era, period, and epoch do we live in today?
St. John's.
St. John's.
It's the Holocene in the Cenozoic, and we're in the Quaternary.
Perfect. 3 points for St. John's. Now I could be picky and ask you to identify which of those is the epoch, which of those is the era, and which of those is the period, but why make an exciting quiz slow down?
That's right.
So I'm going to, I heard that. I'm going to push on with our last question, a tricky question, and just to make sure that, because I have a sense of where the scores are now, we'll make this a 2-point question. Are you ready for this? Question 10. Which of the following Egyptian gods was the ruler of the dead? And here are the choices. 1, the jackal-headed Anubis. 2, Osiris, who had a human head.
St. John's.
St. John. Who was the first? Toronto was first, yes.
Osiris?
Osiris is correct, Toronto. As we stand right now, here are the scores. St. John's 4 with that brilliant answer, the previous question. Sudbury 6. Toronto 7. We have a winner. The University of Toronto has won the Eastern semi-final. What incredible excitement. What fantastic scores. I have to go. We're out of time. Congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations,
But next
Toronto.
week,
Congratulations.
Good job.
next week on at Discovery Canada, we will have the East-West final between the University of Toronto and the University of Saskatchewan and Saskatoon. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.